Come one, come all to a beautiful show. It's gonna be awesome and some other stuff. Some other musical stuff.
You Ghostnuts, motherfucker.
Welcome everyone to another week of the Ghostnuts podcast.
56.
Sponsored by
Sorry.
Remdesivir, allegedly.
One of those ones.
We'll get into it because we're going to get down into who Anthony the Gypsy, the real life Gypsy Fauci is, and this whole Wuhan leak crap that I got announced not long ago. What was it, a couple of days ago or some shit?
Yeah, the emails leaked yesterday or the day before. So fresh, hot off the presses, hot off the internet, coming at you live, not really pre-filmed, but live in the sense of current news.
Yeah. And
Anthony, fuck you, fuck me, fuck everybody, Fauci.
Anthony. Have you realized everyone's name who's Anthony?
Or evil.
They're all evil or a pedo or a fuckwit or... Don't get me wrong.
Shout out to the Anthonys out there.
Shout out to the Anthonys. You know, deep down, we love you. But just a coincidence. It's like all the Bills. Bill Gates, Bill Clinton.
That's it. Who else?
Bill Cosby.
Well, you can't say that he's black.
Anyway, Pride Month as well. And to celebrate, we're talking about Anthony Fauci.
Hip hip hooray.
Yeah, so who is this guy? Little quick background, and we'll get into this fucking Wuhan leaks. Because look, over the weeks, we have mentioned or talked about Anthony Fauci. We have obviously, hot news. You think hot news, don't you? COVID-19, whatever. He's just the man with the plan. Or
it's time
made
to
the
understand.
plan. Yeah.
And that understandment is Anthony Fauci, right? Anthony Stephen Fauci, to get into it. He was born in December 24th, 1940. So he's actually a lot older than I thought he was. He's in the 80s.
Yeah.
What's he still doing lingering around? The cunt's not growing any taller. Just his ears and his nose are fucking expanding. Have you noticed that?
Well, you can't
Little
see
goblin.
you can...
Allegedly.
You can't see his nose because, the face mask goes above the nose.
But it's poking out of it like Pinocchio because he's a fucking lying dog, allegedly. So he's an American physician, scientist, and immunologist who serves as a director of the U.S. National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. That's NIAID. We might reference that a couple of times, just so you know. Bit of butter for your bread. And the chief medical advisor to the president.
Which president? All of them.
Multiple.
All of them.
So as a physician with the NIH, National Institute of Health, he served the American public health sector in various capacities for more than 50 years. So majority of his life he's been fucking serving as the National Institute of Health. And having said that, there's some smoke emanating from your mouth. Interesting. In 1984, he made contributions, which we'll get into, to HIV/AIDS research and other immunodeficiency diseases. So he's been around for a long fucking time, right? And during the COVID-19 pandemic, he was the lead member of President Donald Trump's White House coronavirus task force. So in the early stages of the pandemic, he was described as the most trusted medical figure in the United States.
I thought it was Bill Gates, but he's in the world.
Bit of a 1-2 duo. Left, right, hit him up, or right, left, as other people say. So currently, Fauci is a chief medical advisor to President Joe Biden, officially appointed in 2021.
Okay, so humble beginnings. Apparently, had a bit of background. Apparently, his family owned a pharmacy.
That's cute.
I'll get into the medical industry, and background Sicilian.
That's a nice piece.
Yeah, so got connections to the Cosa Nostra, mafia ties allegedly, but
some people would say he's a Jesuit as well.
Jesuit trained, but some may say that
he likes a good Sicilian olive.
Or a cannoli.
Hey, fucking cannoli.
Hey, Tony, give me the cannoli.
Hey, my asshole. What?
We'll
Extra cream on this one.
At the Gate Bathhouse.
Allegedly.
Get into it.
So on December 3rd, 2020, President-elect Joe Biden asked Fauci to remain in his role.
I think he was a pet president erect.
For sure, with that fucking flagpole between his legs. To basically remain in his role as the director of the NIAID.
So during this whole time, he went and served. He served Reagan, served H.W. Bush, Barry Soetoro.
It goes back.
Yeah, all the way back to Reagan. And then when Trump was in charge, Trump sort of wanted to like sleeve stack him. However, Biden's like, I don't know what I'm doing. All right, come back in. Why was that a Bill Clinton voice anyway?
It's pretty
one in
fucked
the
up, right?
same.
The media doesn't... what?
They're one in the same.
I'm
By that I mean one whole.
Where we are.
No, one whole, as in Hillary, served by Bill and Joe Biden.
Which is funny you bring up Hillary because in the WikiLeaks, Fauci's brought up, and basically like your doctor lover boy. That's how they refer to him.
Very interesting.
So I'm surprised like the media doesn't talk about this, right, when they bring up Fauci, right? But basically, the guy has had the same federal job for at least 36 years, which is very strange and not common.
Government job, very interesting. Imagine the dosh that cunt's bringing in. No wonder he's buying every fucking patent for a virus around the world.
Doesn't that scream deep state, bro?
It does.
He's been around for many different presidents, many different parties, but still he remains, right? And he's also a superb politician. There was like a leaked email that was basically Joe Biden. It was an April Fool's joke sort of thing, saying that I'm going to have Fauci as my vice president. Yeah, the funny thing is, there are 2 million people as well, talking about the big bucks, 2 million people getting a paycheck from the federal government and his employees, and he's the third highest paid out of those 2 million people.
Wow. Big buzziness.
Big buzziness.
36 years in the making.
Yeah, so...
Hey, Tony, where's my paycheck?
Give me my fucking money, Tony. No, wait, he wants the money. You're giving me money. Fuck it. So in the medical research world and scientific research world, it's not like you have an infinite number of potential markets. There are only a few sources of money. One of them is the National Institute of Health, right? It's a hugely important source. And this has been the source of Tony Fauci's personal power because he's been sucking all that cash from that, right?
So if you look, if you've been watching or listening to our episodes, you know there's a huge tie-in. Every week we talk about the way, and we try to get people to know the way it's going to work for the bigger picture. So we're just doing little clues here and there. So we've talked about how non-for-profit organizations work, Bill Gates funding every medical industry, buying patents. It all ties up at the end. WHO and what's it called? I think
Tedros Ghebreyesus doing his thing.
Yeah, and like what's it called? And it all ties up. So like people want to know. Oh yeah, like we've talked about it in the past. These cunts are buying fucking patents for a coronavirus and shit. No shit. And this is the thing that like you see the media. Oh yeah, we're working on a vaccine. They had this fucking vaccine before they even launched the virus.
Yeah,
it's just a game of elimination to get people to get to that mRNA shit.
And you can't speak out against what Fauci is basically saying, right? Because he's got the fucking stranglehold on the shaft that is the NIH, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a doctor and you want to put food on your table, provide for your family, you better like not make this little gremlin bridge troll mad because he's going to cut the funds on you and you're going to have a dig. So you play the narrative, you get fed, you get your money.
That's it. And interesting, just little thing to mention before you get into your investigation, guys.
I went deep, like in a dark place, in a hole, like deep in that hole.
Like in a Turkish bath. Yeah. Fuck me. Sorry. What's it called? Fauci and Reagan's sort of. So, 1984, Reagan got into political power. 81. By 84, he appointed Fauci into that role, which he's held for 36 years. NIAID for AIDS. There was an act passed in 1986, worked around with Anthony Fauci and Ronald passing it through Congress, and then Ronald Reagan doing the final signature. Now, this 1986 act, many of you may already know it. It's an indemnification act. So this means that you may get there's a virus, you get a vaccine. This vaccine can make you sick, make you ill, make you a paraplegic, kill you. But the government has indemnified it. So what does that mean in times like this with the coronavirus vaccine? You can't blame the manufacturer of the vaccine because they're indemnified. You can fucking die, but doesn't matter because we got our fucking ass covered.
One of those ones, eh?
And it's funny because it's, like you said, Reagan, the best president.
Who the fuck says that?
Anyway, is the one that signed it, and that's who hired Fauci into that role that he's held for that long, and then passes through George Herbert Walker Bush, and like I said, and then going on. Funny how, when a government changes, everyone's role changes. Like, you got Republicans, you've got Democrats.
But this
They
bloke,
change. But this guy, he's a Republican, he's a Democrat, he's a deep stater, he's a globalist,
is a Jesuit.
he's a Jesuit, allegedly. So, he can keep his job, depending on, because, you know, especially when like a new president comes in, everyone loses their job.
Yeah, this should just show you the bigger picture of things. If this bloke can stay there while everything else changes, there's obviously shit above him as well.
Yeah.
And he ain't the president.
But we want to see this investigation that you cracked into.
Look, Anthony Fauci has been in the circle of research for a while now, and people may remember him when he was at the forefront of AIDS research and trying to combat AIDS, right? Because in 1984, when he got his job from the Reagan administration, like you said, Fauci promised an AIDS vaccine in 1984. It was apparently around the corner. It's 2021 now. Where's the fucking vaccine, mate? They've spent fucking $500 billion and they got jack shit. But going back to that, some heavy research that Fauci was doing back in the day to get some fucking info on this AIDS research. He was visiting gay saunas and bars to help understand how AIDS was spreading.
Or was this
Funny research, eh? It's like me deep throating a dick just to see how gag reflexes work.
Yeah. Have you tried that?
No comment.
Carry on.
So,
Gay Pride Month.
allegedly, well, from his research, AZT, was a chemotherapy that was developed to treat a kind of cancer and was determined to be too dangerous for human use. But Fauci and his little friends, thanks to the hysteria they helped build up about AIDS, it was a massive, like, we weren't really around for that AIDS hysteria.
Yep.
But from what I could see, from my research, I can see it was like similar to this COVID panic, right? There was a mass hysteria, like everyone's going to fucking die from AIDS and shit. And through this hysteria, they helped get it reclassified. So this chemotherapy AZT shit that was deemed too dangerous for humans got brought back and was given to millions of people to combat AIDS. And there's researchers out there that believe somewhere between 200,000 to 500,000 people have died of AZT consumption because AZT is a mutagen. It's carcinogen and it actually destroys the immune system.
Question I have for you is, how has someone like Elton John never gotten AIDS in his life?
Man, he has that fucking, like, not to be derogatory in any sense, it's more of like praising his testosterone and his vigor. Man, he has got that look of absolute hunger for sex.
Filth.
Like, he would, like a pig in the trot, chowing away.
Yeah.
And he's banging on. I can see Daniel waving goodbye because he just fucked him, left him in the bed full of cum, and he's driving to his next stop, you know?
But yeah, like they say, he's got that disgusting appetite. Like,
Just a hunger, like a deep-seated
like
hunger.
anything, like, you know, he would.
If
like,
he was a straight man, there'd be fucking pregnant bitches everywhere in Tasmania.
Yeah.
You know, he came and got married.
Yeah.
Back in the day, just
to change the narrative.
Yeah.
But he's the type of bloke that would, like, go sing a live concert and you could see, like...
He's got his...
Why do you think he
Got
doesn't
someone
have...
blowing him under the table,
Why-
under the piano.
Why do you think he doesn't have a beard? Because that fucking feces excrement from the arsehole he just ate would be stuck on his moustache.
Give him that pink eye.
Anyway.
To match that red hair. So yeah, back on track with this whole Fauci AIDS thing. You got multiple highly
Fauci
touted...
doesn't have a beard either. Question mark.
He's got that hook nose to scoop it out. So you got all these scientists up there who are like basically against what Fauci was saying. So you got Peter Duesberg, who his AIDS theory is quite interesting, and he was vilified for it. He was basically proposing that various American European AIDS diseases are brought by long-term consumption of recreational drugs and or AZT itself. So like basically you're weakening the immune system so much you're getting hit with this shit. Not that HIV is causing it.
But where's the fucking vaccine that he created?
And exactly, where is that?
Yeah.
And he got vilified for this. And he was a fucking, they couldn't really strip him of his title because he achieved so much as a scientist, but they fucking turned him to shit, mate. And they fucking drove him to death. Then you got Dr. Robert Wilner, who accused Fauci of genocide. And this was in regards to this AZT shit, right? And the way he handled AIDS. And what happened to him 3 months later when he publicly came out and shat on Fauci, dies in a car crash. See you later, buddy. Robert hit the sleaze stack. Then you got Dr. Carrie Mullis, who is a Nobel Prize winner and inventor of some PCR tests to map gene and DNA or some shit. He criticized Fauci and challenged him to a debate. Also died right before this COVID pandemic because he would have been fucking vocal as fuck about that. Kind of suspicious. So now you fast forward to where we are now, and this magical gypsy has pulled the same trick again with COVID they've done with AIDS.
And as mentioned in episode 1 of the Ghostnuts podcast, Charles Lieber, who was at the helm of the Wuhan lab, copped the sleaze stack. And if you look back at Anthony Fauci's speech in 2017, said, "We are going to face a big pandemic during the Trump administration." And it came true. So gypsy work Baba Vanga bloodline at its finest.
I feel like we're kind of like shitting on gypsies referring to this bloke as a gypsy because he's a criminal. Allegedly, fuck man, I'm going to get banned.
But then again,
siphoning all this money for AIDS research to do what? To do jack shit. Where's the vaccine? But it did fucking put out all these dog shit, kill people. Doing the same with COVID, right? And so he's basically a thief, if you think of it that way.
Yeah.
Which I take it back because gypsies are thieves as well, allegedly.
Yeah. And if you think about it always, as Fleetwood Mac once said,
yes,
you see that gypsy in the CDC NIAID lab. And then they had to obviously
prophetic song.
And they had to change the lyrics to it.
Yeah, when Zuckerberg got on the tail.
Yeah, fuck that cunt.
Okay, so you've got here like although we've talked a bit of crap on Dr. Anthony Fauci, you've got here some notable achievements which
we should be praising.
Yeah.
During the peak of COVID, I think this was last year, even though they were opening sports stadiums to 0 fans, Anthony Fauci got a seat at the Nationals-Yankees game where he threw the first pitch. And have you seen that fucking pitch he thrown?
Kind of embarrassing.
It went the fucking other way. But, you know, he's got some honorable achievements in the Major League Baseball competitions.
Yep.
So good on your Fauci doing that. Oh, and wearing a mask.
That's basically it.
He was wearing a mask.
Thanks for your contributions.
Where does that show athletes down the track? They're going to be fucking wearing masks playing sport. Go fuck yourself.
Okay. And here's another thing I stumbled upon. Maybe look into it. I'll have some links in the show notes. One of Tony Fauci's jobs is bioweapons. Apparently he's a bioweapons expert.
I read this.
So he has a whole division in his little unit there at the NIH.
Yep.
That's called biodefense, which is kind of funny because bio-attack, we kill you with bioweapons.
And we
COVID,
need biodefense for it.
And COVID could be seen as a bioweapon if you look into it.
So, chippy choppy
At the COVID
Maloppy.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the juiciest of orbs of the news of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Wuhan leaks.
And that is not a Chinese sexually transmitted disease where I'm not going to go into detail, but you can put the picture together.
And it's not the Wuhan leaking liquid of a sumo wrestler who allegedly is, if you sweat more, you're very healthy. Some sources say.
Which is kind of true because dead people don't sweat.
There you go. But very interesting information that got leaked. But then again, if you think about it, before we get into it, is this going to allude like a rise to anything? Like we've seen Hillary's emails leaked. We've seen John Podesta's emails leaked. We've seen Hunter Biden's fucking penis with a measuring tape. So we've seen that shit leaked.
Just so you know, it's not all smoke and mirrors. He's got the fucking digits there.
Yeah, he's got the numbers. But is this just another? Is this just another like something to distract us? Like, you know, what?
Well, what do those emails show exactly that would call for him to be maybe put under investigation? Which I think is kind of fair.
Or can we say
we're not saying he's guilty, just to investigate?
Can we not assume, but go into the path of contradictory of the facts that he's been telling us to do under this whole COVID crap?
Do you want to go into it?
Okay, well, where should we start? This whole gain of function document of telling people. I'll give you a quick summary, but then we'll get into it. We have the main information from this documents leaked that COVID was created. It wasn't from Batman.
Which is funny because the agenda he was pushing before is that he jumped from bats to humans.
Yeah.
Very natural.
And now if he's asked, he goes, it could be from a lab.
What do those emails say? The emails say otherwise.
Yes. The all questionable hydroxychloroquine can play a part in a cure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it, drink it like it's gospel or take it, but like maybe mix with something or splice with something else. There's no such thing as asymptomatic spread.
Interesting, huh?
How? Because, you know, it's all about that QR codes these days because we want to know where people are going because we want to avoid those places. Fuck you. Then we have face masks don't work.
Funny, well, it's a requirement now.
So I was reading a document that Fauci put out. This was ages ago, like, you know, a couple of years ago, saying that face masks don't necessarily work. Next minute comes out and says we must wear face masks. Next minute comes out again and says we need 2 face masks. And at one point, Joe Biden, the idiot, was wearing 2 face masks.
Didn't he do this whole PhD hypothesis back in the day that face masks were basically spreading, or not spreading, but creating like a lung disease in people because they were wearing them?
Yeah. And then you have people in warehouses working
This
a
is
full
ridiculous.
shift
This is, go on.
in a mask. How's that going to help you?
When the people around clearly don't have the virus. But that's, neither him or her, or there or him, or shim or whatever, Z, whatever the fuck you want to call them.
So and then apparently N95 masks work. So now we've got different types of face masks. Like we mentioned last week, could be just that fucking shit that they put in tampons from Monsanto and those chemicals to make you fucking...
Giving you that fucking lung cancer. How the fuck do you know?
That's it. Next thing you've got is no lockdowns were necessary. Oh, really? All right, go tell that to the governments all around the world. Facebook purposely promoted authoritarian propaganda regarding COVID. Really? All right, go tell this to all those idiots that are believing it. And then we were not given actual numbers, obviously, because they were compromising the natural cold flu into those numbers.
Yep, people
and
dying from various accidents.
People like car crash and all this shit.
Gout, and they had to get a full chopped off, died from COVID.
And then we know that he lied last month in Congress when he was approached with this information.
So there is a leak. There's like 3,000 something pages. We've done the nitty gritty. We've gone through them. Some things to note. On page 239, I'm just going to go through them quickly. Fauci basically asked to recommend names for the World Health Organization group with a broad mission to look at the origins and evolution of COVID. So he responds to this by trying to reframe the mission in a manner that would look only for natural and not lab-made origin. So he's trying to steer away from it being lab-made. Why is that? He might have a vested interest in that lab. He might have funded some things there. Then he sent an internal NIAID communication reflecting that it was unlikely that originated in a wet market. So he's kind of contradicting himself there. Which one is it? Fuck with Fauci, allegedly. So then it goes through, it's a bunch of shit, right? Basically saying if the mortality rate's between 0.2 to 0.4%, then there's no need to worry about it, like a common cold, and we shouldn't, be worrying about it. But yet we're in lockdown and we're doing all this crazy shit. Funny how. 25. Yeah. So then you got him receiving communication from people in China saying that it's actually a lot worse than what they're reporting. This was before it became a big deal, and the spread is causing a lot of deaths and shit. So be careful, motherfucker. Which he kind of ignored. So blah blah blah, this and that. Him basically being a contradictory bitch. One day it's this, one day it's that. He's got a hidden agenda, obviously, trying to hide the fact he came from a lab. He's got some contacts with Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, I saw
saying
that shit.
Zuckerberg's reaching out, trying to give him the Zucker fuck, like, I love you, Fauci. You're a fucking beacon of light in this testing time. And then Fauci responds, we may need help with resources, trying to cipher that fucking money from him. And if there's a delay in the development timeline of the vaccine, he told Zuckerberg, I will contact you. So what the fuck does Zuckerberg have to do now with development of vaccines?
The control of millions of people on a social media platform. Bitch.
Yeah, and also, despite media reports in these personal emails, Fauci made it clear that he was not being muscled by the White House. Funny how, Fauci, because when you got accepted by fucking Biden, you said, it's refreshing to be able to say what I want now and not be hindered and held back.
Yeah.
But which one is it? Which one is it, Fauci? Tell me.
Yeah.
Because I want to fucking know.
Hey, Tony.
Tell me, Tony.
Tony, what is the answer?
Also in the email, it's basically saying that this disease, this virus is only going to affect or really affect people who are elderly or have respiratory issues. So why not just put them in quarantine, mate, and not everyone else? So he's basically admitting it.
Then you got fucking your mate, Cuomo, sending infected patients in nursing homes.
Get rid of them all, clean them out, mate.
And that's another thing that happened. If you want to talk about scandals, wasn't Cuomo under investigation for all these accusations of sexual allegations, and then that's just water under the bridge? Shout out to NY Patriot who told us it's just a smokescreen of what is actually going on in the States. And
also shout out to him because he's going to be on Twitch, bitch, tomorrow live.
Yeah, so check that out, boys and girls. But so then Bill Gates, phone call in April.
What the fuck's going on there?
The 2nd of April, where they agreed to do a collab.
The hottest new collab hitting the streets.
Yep. With called, it even sounds like a rap album, Synergistic Covert Approach.
Coming at you hard.
Yeah.
Hard and fast. Featuring NIAID,
yeah.
NIH.
B and DJ Bards with
producer BMGF, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Yeah. So it just sounds like a hectic mixtape that you're going to be cranking on the way to a FEMA camp.
So this fucking Bill Gates has got behind the scenes influence on decisions that will impact the civil rights of all Americans during the pandemic. Why? We discussed it. Watch the previous episodes.
Yeah. We don't want to just say shit that we've already mentioned in the past, but you know where it's all going in regards to these Wuhan leaks. We mentioned it last year in our first episode.
And this should show you how selfish Anthony Fauci is, that he only cares about himself, right? Because he was rejecting most calls and requests to speak out, but then he accepts a call from the CEO of a major pharmaceutical company trying to set that deal up. Also, in the emails states hydroxychloroquine, as you said, effective. Other methods effective, but fuck it, we're going with the vaccine instead.
Yeah.
And also, Fauci claimed to have little time for anything, right? He was spread so thin. But then he confirmed the filming of a film that celebrates the importance of his life, science, and public health achievements. And he was working with them to do a fucking little film biography about the man, the myth, the legend, the gypsy.
Yeah. Long story short, Are there any other
There's
key
a lot
ones?
of shit, but
Yeah.
like,
Are there any key ones that you remember briefly? That's pretty much it, eh?
well, yeah, basically that,
That
COVID,
Remdesivir shit
yeah,
made by Gilead, who has ties with George Soros allegedly. So
but you can just go
Fuck
through
knows.
this. It should be put under question, right? All right, I'm going to go through this one because I think it's important, right? He appears to dismiss potential life-saving treatment. He receives a report from the chief sectional viral pathologist of NIAID, Dr. Paolo Lusa.
okay,
Italians run deep, eh?
yep.
Get them Jesuit fingers
Get
spread.
them Jesuit
They treated-
Vatican tries in.
They treated a group of patients with potent anti-aggregant therapy, Aggrastat, Tyrofibin, and apparently in all of them, they recovered and they came off the ventilators and went on to a full recovery. So what happens when Fauci receives this good news? Oh, great. Fuck it. Let's get the vaccine going instead.
Yeah. So the thing you have to understand with this whole COVID crap and just the man behind it with the plan, this isn't an overnight fucking plan that these globalists.
It's not a
are discussing.
haphazard shit hit the
It's
fan.
not.
Let's work on it. No.
And people think, oh yeah, COVID, blah blah blah. COVID's going to be for at least 3 years. This whole trial period. We're under emergency use till 2022, and
Look at Melbourne recently.
yeah. So if you look at this whole SPARS document as well, which we'll probably have to get into in a different episode, it's pretty much a white paper to show how COVID's going to be playing out. This is 30 years in the making. This whole even starts from the Reagan administration indemnifying vaccines to today, finding something that we can depopulate people and also causing havoc, chaos against the masses, getting people to disagree with one another through media. It's a huge plan that these globalists have put together, because at the end of the day, people care about their health, they want to live. And why would you want to live in a world where it's going to be like fucked? Where we're going to be getting chips inside of us, transhumanism, Klaus Schwab, give it to me, baby, nice and slow, and I'll ride you like I do on a rodeo, like 50 Cent collabed with
That's a heavy one.
yeah.
So also, speaking of 50 Cent, Craig David came out as well recently.
Yes.
And said my song Hidden Agenda,
Yeah.
which was heavily suppressed because he was speaking about what's about to happen. There's a hidden agenda happening behind the scenes.
Interesting. And that's why he
Because I know that you're playing around.
Yeah. And then he changed it to I'm walking away from the troubles in my life, which is based on Anthony Fauci's career.
Mm-hmm.
And in saying that, ghostnutspodcast.com, you can find these email leaks through our website if you don't want to go through, because I tried to do some research and they're banning the fucking documents. So we're going to have it on our show notes. We're going to have the simplified version if you CBF reading. We're going to be on as many social media platforms as we can, because we're starting to ramp up a report.
What
And
do you
that's
mean?
not rap report. We're trying to, all the outlets that we got banned from, we're trying to rectify them and try getting back on in a different, could be Ghostnuts Podcast 69, could be just a different name. So just look us up. We'll be there. And any last words?
I got nothing to say, to be honest. I'm kind of disgusted by that whole fucking Elton John scenario that's just playing in my head.
Yeah.
Can't believe he done Daniel dirty like that.
Well, everyone's going to get dirty in times like these.
And in times like these, we need friends like these.
And not enemies.
Your hands are so fucking warm.
I've been holding my balls this whole time.
Hope I don't get AIDS.
You ghost nuts, motherfucker.
Ghostnuts. Podcast, boys.
Are they discussing this on the Ghostnuts podcast? Are you? You guys need to break this fucking down.
Get to the chopper! Kill your fucking selves, you fucking globalists!
We can't see them, they can't see us.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
God, I love those Ghostnuts.